So Darren, it's really good to see you. I think the last time you and I saw each other was probably last year in New York City. So here we are now in this virtual environment, but it's great to see and talk with you today.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. Great to see you too. I do miss those days we can be together, but we'll be there again soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So, Darren, I wanted to catch up with you because, a lot's happened in the last, 9 months. And when you think about the last 9 months and kind of March till today, thinking about what's happened from an M&A perspective, can you talk a little bit about what you saw in March and what's kind of transpired up until, this point?
Yeah, sure. So, like many of aspects of life, right, things came to a bit of a halt in March. And certainly as we proceeded into April, we saw a significant slowdown in deal work, both buy side, sell side work, private equity, commercial. I mean, there was a really significant slowdown. I think, people were trying to figure out, what was happening in the world, and from a transactional perspective, sort of hit the brakes, and really kind of just put on pause for a few months. There was some trickling of work, work that was that trickled into into that period of time, but certainly a slowdown, just to sort of see where the world was going to come out. I think where as the weeks and months proceeded, people got a little bit more used to the new normal, and they were sort of reevaluating the types of industries they were looking at, reevaluating the types of businesses they were looking at, and really targeted specific opportunities. And I'd say, come maybe mid-August into September, and certainly into the current months, the current period, we've seen a real significant uptick in activity. I'd say over the past 3 months, myself, our SALT M&A team, our M&A tax teams, our deal advisory teams, we haven't been this busy in years. So a significant amount of deal work activity, buy side, sell side, really healthy environment that we see, from an acquisition standpoint.
And that's interesting, especially when you think about in long term, 9 months isn't a big amount of time, but I know, just given the current environment, it's kind of a long spectrum of sorts. Being a partner in state and local tax, how do you see state and local fitting in with that momentum, and what have you done kind of in the past and into now as far as how state and local really plays a key role from an M&A perspective?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head there. It does play a very key role. The types of clients that we work with, the types of targets that they look at, there are a tremendous amount of domestic tax issues, oftentimes in the indirect tax space, as it relates to some of the developments from a nexus standpoint, some of the developments from just the way the states adopted the CARES Act or didn't adopt the CARES Act. A lot of sort of just unknowns, and lots of companies dealing with lots of technical issues and issues that they really hadn't dealt with before. So that when we get involved in transactions and we start opening up the doors to some of these targets, we really see what's going on inside the company, and see and understand what's going on from just a compliance perspective, the lack of tax personnel to interpret the different rule changes. So we see a lot of issues at many of these businesses, and state and local tax is at the forefront of those issues. Many of our findings are state and local tax related from a due diligence perspective. Our team is also very involved in the acquisition structure. So when we think about how a business is going to be acquired, whether it's a private equity acquisition or a commercial acquisition, how does the new business fit within either a new platform company that's formed by a private equity firm, or how does it fit within an existing operations, and how is that all going to work from a state and local tax perspective, from an income tax perspective, from combined filings and unitary, and how does that work prospectively for the new business, the new business. So state and local tax is really a significant player and a significant piece of our M&A tax work.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. There's a lot of issues a lot of ideas and a lot of impacts domestically and internationally that could impact the state profile. So definitely sounds like a key role in a lot of activities. So, the last thing I wanted to ask you, just because, I know when you look at your practice and you're working with folks all over the country, how do you find the interaction and kind of this environment, right, that we're in today? How is that impacting, the way you do work effectively?
I look at it two ways, right? The sort of the personal relationship aspect of things, and how do we keep our team together and keep them motivated and keep morale up and keep people feeling connected to each other. And I think we do a nice job with that. We have leaders in different parts of the country that have, several group calls a week. We have national calls with some frequency where the entire, team, 60 plus people get on a phone call and, kind of talk through either just, issues with working from home or, to your point, maybe staffing and personnel issues, or, honestly, just, technical stuff that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. So kind of a lot of connectivity and collegiality from, as it relates to these Zoom calls or, Microsoft Teams. We have information sharing. We have our own Salt Lemonade database that we use that we share information on. There's a lot of sort of regular touch points, regular communication points. And then, even with the team that I work with, concentrated with in the East, we do a lot of just coffee, like coffee hours, coffee half hours, or water cooler talks, right? Where we just get on the phone and talk about stuff that isn't related to anything work-wise, right? Nothing related to tax. Maybe we talk about our favorite shows, or we talk about, that we're, the different, Netflix shows or the different HBO shows that are out there. And we talk about that, or sports or whatever is on anybody's mind. So I think that helps a lot with that connectivity, constant connectivity. We're doing some happy hours, and, so you have to find ways to keep the team connected, keep morale up. I'm really, we try to, have like team lunches once in a while where, we'll issue Uber Eats gift certificates to our team members and, get them on and have them, just having lunch together. All those types of connection points and, kind of keeping people involved in the practice, not from a just purely technical professional perspective, but from a personal perspective, I think is very helpful to keeping up morale.
Yeah, no, all great points, Darren. And I think we're all looking for things like that to stay connected to our teams and our clients as well. So, Darren, thanks. I really appreciate the time today. It was good catching up in this format, and hopefully we'll get together soon in person.
It was great. Yeah, great. Always great to see you, buddy.
You too. Take care.
You well.